So hi everyone, welcome to this info session. It is great to see you here. So my name is Fernanda Tomaselli and I am a lecturer and coordinator of the Land 1 program. So I teach in the program, but I also coordinate the program. So today you will learn a little bit more about Land 1. So I will give you a presentation and you will hear from one of our former students. So Raya, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and then you can give them more information, but now a quick introduction.
Sure. So hi, my name's Rhea. I'm just finishing my first year in the Food, Nutrition, and Health Science program, and I did Land 1 this year. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Rhea. So I'm going to share my screen and feel free, everyone, if you have any questions, like you can absolutely raise your hand and, we will answer your questions. And if you have any questions, you can post them in the general chat, or if you want, you can also direct them to Shannon. Okay, and she can answer them or we will share them at the end of the presentation. Okay, so that we ensure we answer everyone's questions. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Perfect. All right, perfect. So as I said, welcome everyone to this info session. We are very excited to see you here. So hopefully today we will give you more information about Land 1 so that you can make an informed decision whether you want to apply to the program and whether you want to join the program. So it will be quite a bit about different aspects of the program, how it is different from a traditional first year, and what are some of the things that you can expect from Land 1. So first of all, Land 1 is a first year option only offered for first year students in the Faculty of Forestry and Land and Food Systems. So you only do, if you decide to do it and you apply, it's only during your first year. In second, third, fourth, fifth year, you go on in your normal programs as a typical LFS or forestry student. So what is Land 1? So basically in Land 1, you take 16 credits out of all of the credits you will take. Some of you may take 20, 24, 30 credits. So you will take 16 credits during your whole first year together in the Land 1 group. So the Land 1 group usually has between 40 and 60 students. So I will talk about one of the benefits of Land 1. This is a smaller class than the typical UBC class. So what are the courses that you take together with everyone else in Land 1? So for term 1, you take Biology 121. So this is Biology, Ecology, and Evolution. And you take Math 180. So Biology is 3 credits and Math 180 is 4 credits. So Math 180 is Calculus, okay? And you take the Land 1 Integrative Seminar in term 1 and also in term 2. So in term 2, you will take LFS Forestry 150. So these are 3 credits of scholarly writing and communications. And in term 2, you take LFS Forestry 101, that these are 3 credits in microeconomics. And as I mentioned, the Land 1 Integrative Seminar is a 3 credit class, but it is a class that distributes, basically it begins in September and it ends in April. Okay, so it will be your only 1 year class, but it's only 3 credits. You will take the remaining first year credits according to your degree program. So if you are in food and nutrition, for example, you will take some classes. If you are in applied biology, you will take other classes. So it's really these 16 credits that you take with everyone else in Land 1. So what are some of the benefits of Land 1? So to begin with, one of the most important aspects of the program is the smaller class size. So one of the ideas of Land 1, or I think the main idea of Land 1, was to create this program to improve students' experience as a first year university student. So it was to support you in your transition from high school to university. And one of the things where students struggle or it's like very different from high school is the class size. So I usually ask this question. So what was the typical class size in your high school? Like, can you maybe use the chat and let us know? So what's, approximately the class size in your high school? You can just chat away, any number. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mariana. Around 30, 30. Thank you, Emma. Amazing. Thank you, Aiko. 25. Okay. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Amazing. So, it depends, but probably the range will be 15 to maybe 30, maybe 40, but 40 is like a big class for high school. Now comes the question. What do you think is a typical first year class in UBC? How many students can you expect in one classroom in land and food systems, for example? What do you think? And you can totally guess, or maybe you already know. So you can type any number in the chat. Okay, yeah, 100. Okay, with the question mark, 100 to 100. Yep, pretty much. So some of the big classes, and UBC, it's like sometimes 300, 400. In LFS, maybe, Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably 180 to 200, maybe 250. In the Faculty of Forestry, the big classes are 250. Okay, so just so that you can see the difference. If you are in first year, it is very likely, if you are not in Lang 1, that you will take many of those classes in minimum 180 to 100 student classes. Okay, so they're pretty big in comparison with your high school experience. So in Lang 1, we offer the smaller class size. So small for UBC, it's about 40 to 60 students. So for you, it's still probably big and large, but it's definitely small for UBC standards. Okay, so a smaller class size is one of the most important aspects of Lang 1. Another important aspect of the program is same students, same classroom. So only Land 1 students take those 16 credits. In math, I will make a difference. In math, you take classes 2 hours with the general big lecture, but then you have your own tutorial that is only for Land 1 students, okay? So you take these classes with the same students and in the same classroom. So just to give you one example, in term 1, you first have biology and then you have the Land 1 integrative seminar. So you really don't have to move buildings. We basically have the same class. So it's pretty good because UBC is a big university and it can take 15 minutes at least to get from across campus if you have a class, on the other side. So it's pretty good to have the same classroom. Also, you will likely have many more hands-on opportunities than the typical first year. So when we say hands-on opportunities, Lang 1 tries to include more experiential learning. So you will likely have more field trips than the typical first year experience at university. So some examples of these experiential learning experiences, we usually begin in the botanical garden. So one of the first team bonding experiences in the first or second week of class is a visit to the botanical garden and a hike in the how do you call it, like you walk among the trees, I forgot the name, and then we have a 2-day field trip to Malcolm Knapp Research Forest. So here on the left, this is a photo from Rhea, so thank you so much, Rhea, for sharing that. And this is a 2-day field trip to the research forest. Some of the activities in and outside the research forest are related to LFS and food. For example, you get to plant garlic in like an urban farm, and some of the activities relate to forestry. So you get to measure trees and do things related to trees. So even for land and food system students, it's very interesting because you will likely never do that again. The Malcolm Knapp Research Forest is one of the highlights of students in Land 1. Like they really like this field trip. In addition to the Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, there are a number of other field trips. So for example, we go to the UBC farm. This year, we started a partnership with Cypress Community Garden, and that was like really awesome. Like students were able to volunteer for the garden. And we basically went there, we pruned trees, we did anything that the garden needed. And on the bottom, you have a photo of UBC's route on the roof. So this was also another short field trip that we did this term. And a former Lang 1 student is now the president. So she guided our visit. These experiences, most first year students do not have them unless you are in Lang 1. So first year tends to be even a little bit abstract for most students. So this is really that nice practical side of Lang 1. Also, it offers a more integrated education. So the first type of integration that you will see is this perspective on different topics from a forestry and a land and food system perspective. You will see how LFS issues like, I don't know, food security or food production influence the state of forests. And you will also learn how forests influence many topics in land and food systems. So that's the first type of integration. The other integration that we do is integration between classes. So for example, in the integrative seminar, you will see things that connect to biology, that connect to economics, for example, potentially even to math. And what we try to do here is to make those other classes a little bit less abstract. So many students in first year sometimes feel very disappointed because many of your classes are not practical. Like many of you will have to take math, chemistry, physics. And for many of you, it's like, my God, what does this have to do with the real world or with anything I care about? So in the integrative seminar and in the Land 1 program, we try to give you more of a real life situation, and we touch on different topics like food security, sustainability, climate change, etc. And we try to integrate the different subjects while discussing these global sustainability challenges. Also, we do social activities. So every time we're innovating, the social activities that we do, one of the ones we usually have is the International Food Night, where we get to explore food from diverse countries or regions. And this food is cooked by the students. So we're able to share a little bit of the cultural diversity in the program. Depending on the year, we sometimes do hikes in the weekends, not very often, but maybe one hike per term or something like that. And we do a number of other activities. This year we did like a trivia or a Kahoot. And this photo, thank you, Rhea, is from, we did a scavenger hunt one of the days. And I think it was very fun. So we will continue doing these social events. So we have, social events maybe once every month or so, just to build this connection between students. Also, something that many students mention that really makes a difference in their first year is the personal connection with instructors. So instructors in Land 1, many of them are we teach in the program every year. We love teaching in the program. And we really make an emphasis in connecting with the students. Like we talk about the students, we usually know how the students are doing. Depending on the students, we follow up with the students. So students, not everyone, but many of them feel more personal attachment. Also, imagine when you are in classes of 200, 300 students, it's hard to connect with your instructors. In Land 1, because of the type of program, smaller classes, it's sort of easier to make this connection. And what happens with me is I usually see my Land 1 students in second, third year, fourth year, and it's amazing. Like now I'm actually going to a field course in Ecuador, and I'm taking 3 of my former Land 1 students. So yeah, so the connection with instructors is definitely something pretty good. This is a photo from this year. And in the middle, we have a Sam. So he was the TA, the teaching assistant for the integrative seminar throughout the whole year. And he was an amazing teaching assistant, and he did a presentation about his experience, work and professional academic experience, and students really love that. So this is just one photo of everyone in the group, in the cohort with Sam. So that's, sort of the connections that you get. Finally, Land 1 students, this is unique to Land 1. You get a designated Land 1 space in the Macmillan building. So this is the LFS, one of the LFS buildings. And in this Land 1 space, you can do, you can study some of the social events. We have them here. It's sort of your space that you can use for having this sort of sense of belonging in UBC. So not all Land 1 students use it, but a lot of Land 1 students use the Land 1 space. Okay, and it's very useful. Like you have your own space for hanging, hanging out, or even like doing math exercises or whatever you need in terms of your academics. And finally, many students, or most students that have gone through the program, mentioned that they felt a greater sense of community. Like Rhea will probably talk about this, but many students really make their best friends at Land 1. Like I usually in my second, third year classes, I see Land 1 students sitting together because many of those friendships really last for a very long time. So many students feel this good sense of community with the other students in the class. Okay, so that's me, but what's more important is to hear from Rhea about her own experience in the program. So Rhea, please go ahead.
Hi. Okay, so about my experience with Land 1, sort of as Fernanda mentioned, it's so great to have like an easier transition to university. I know that I was feeling really nervous about all the changes because there's so many changes that happen at once for first year. And so I think that that's really what drew me in to apply for Land 1, and maybe for some of you who are listening right now. I think that having the same group of people that you have classes with just made it so much easier to make friends. And so, like that sense of community that we were just talking about, I definitely made some of my closest friends this year through Land 1, because when you're in those big lectures with 200, I had one with like 400 people, you might not sit next to the same people every class or see that person that you met on like the first day. But when you're in that cohort, you're seeing the same people so much more often. So that's really great. Also, I wanted to mention that it's a really diverse group of students. So you're basically guaranteed to find people that you're going to click with. Yeah, not everyone's like the same. There's no like typical Land 1 student. There's so many different people with different perspectives, which I really liked. And yeah, sort of about it really helped me get used to the university style, going from like your high school classes to lectures. Um, it can be a really big jump. And so for me, being able to do it in a small class size and like with people I felt comfortable around, it made me feel more compelled to raise my hand in class, we have a lot of discussions. And so I felt more compelled to actually participate and share my ideas, because there's less people. And then, as was already mentioned, getting to know your professors. But really, it's so rare in university for professors to know your name, like know you at all, because there's so many students. But in Land 1, I knew all my professors, they all knew my name. And I felt so much more comfortable like approaching them or just chatting, going to office hours, emailing them. And I think it really made me just realize that like professors are just people, and it sounds really weird, but when you're sitting in a massive lecture hall with this prof at the front, they seem like kind of an intimidating person, but really they're just people, and they're happy to talk to you. So that made me feel a lot more comfortable. On to some of my highlights of the program. The Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, you saw the photo. I'm pretty sure that photo was in the old growth forest that we visited. And I also really enjoyed planting the garlic. That was so fun. And I think it was a really great bonding experience for the group. So maybe at the start of the year, if you're not feeling like super solidified in your friendships, that's totally normal. But going on this trip really, I think, brought everyone together a lot closer. So and yeah, all the field trips were super fun, as were all shown before. But that's a really special opportunity that doesn't usually happen. Like my other first year friends who weren't in Land 1 were really jealous of all the field trips I got to go on. I also want to mention we had quite a few guest lectures. And that was really cool for sort of seeing where like you can go in the future and what people in these fields are doing. We also had some past students come and talk about what they were doing. And I thought that that was really great for possible networking as well. Like if you want to reach out to them or learn more about their research or their studies, they were happy to. And so I thought that was really great. Yeah, I guess my sort of closing thing is that you'll hear this in your LFS 100 course. It's kind of the motto, but it's that first year is hard, but you can do hard things. And it really stuck with me. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, if you're finding it difficult with the changes, and just remember that everyone is going through it. And even if you can't tell, everyone else is feeling the same way as you. So just take care of yourself, focus on yourself, don't compare yourself to everyone else, and just reach out because everyone else is feeling the same as you. So yeah, that's my experience.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rhea, for that. That's great. Okay. So just a little bit of information about the Lang 1 impact. So this is data from this year. So it's actually Rhea's group and the feedback they provided. So usually at the end of every term, we ask students about, you know, how Lang 1 influenced them, like what worked well and which aspects can be improved, just so that you know, we change the program sometimes, some things to improve it, to make it better. Feedback is extremely important. So 92% of students mentioned that the teaching strategies in Lang 1 helped them in their academic success. This does not mean that that first year is not difficult. It is, and it's probably the hardest or most challenging year that you may have in university. But in any case, in Lang 1, we support the students, and those teaching strategies helped students. And just so that you know, this year, so Rhea's group were the best in Biology 121. So Biology 121, they have, I think, 7 sections. The Lang 1 section was the best one. So absolutely, it helped, and it showed that they did pretty well. So about, let me see my screen, 92% of students mentioned that they received support from other students in Lang 1. So you will likely make friends in Lang 1. It doesn't mean you will know everyone or be like the super closest with the 50 students. Probably not, but very likely you will have, you know, your group of students that you really get along well. I became more interested in forestry and land and food system issues. So 85% of students, actually 100% of students that answered the survey mentioned that they want to continue their careers in forestry or land and food systems. So it sort of spiked interest in many of the students. I had plenty of opportunities to interact with professors in Lang 1. So again, this personal connection with professors is really important, and most students mention this as something important. And 85% of students said that Lang 1 helped them in their transition to university. This is the goal of the Lang 1 program, to support you in your first year. So for us, like seeing that 85% of students say that, yes, you know, it helped me, is like for us a huge achievement, because that's the most important objective of Lang 1. So just some 2 quotes that I want to share with you. So this one is from a previous year. The Lang 1 community is so welcoming, and I am so happy I was able to be a part of it. I have made some amazing friends that I otherwise never would have met, as they are in a different faculty. It definitely helped my transition from high school to university. So yeah, like the connections that you make between faculties are very valuable. So this one is from this year. Our cohort had a great community feel. Our instructors were so engaging, and it felt like they were very invested in our learning and engagement. Okay, so I would like to invite Shannon to talk a little bit more about the application process.
Great, thank you, Fernanda. All right, so just to talk a little bit about the application process, it is a pretty easy process to go. Pretty easy process to apply, and there is a lot of information on our website. Maybe I'll just pull that up, and just so I have it here. So for students in forestry and LFS, the application deadline is May 15th. So please make sure that you have your application in before then. You would not be starting the program until September 2023. And after your application, you would be hearing before you register for courses about whether or not you've been accepted into the program. There are a few requirements in order to apply. So please make sure that you have met the requirements. So the requirements that we're looking for are biology 11 or 12, math 12 or pre-calc 12, BC English 12 or the equivalent. And then we'll also be asking you about your grades in those classes or your expected grades in those classes. And then we'll be asking for a letter of intent, which is you have an opportunity to share up to 500 words about why you feel like this program in particular is the right fit for you. The application does not take that long to complete. It should only take you a few minutes, depending on how much time you spend on your personal statement. We love to hear more about why students are interested in Land 1, and submit that. It'll come to us, and then again, you'll be hearing a decision probably around early June, before you register for your courses. There are no additional tuition fees for this program. However, there is an additional cost, which is your 2-day field trip of about $250 to $300. So that is the only extra fee that you need to budget for. Fernanda, have I missed anything that you would like me to touch on?
No, I think that's it. And the application, you can find it in the Land 1 website. There's a button that says apply now, and that will take you to the survey. Perfect. Yeah, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate. Absolutely do not hesitate to ask us. Like you can send your email to the Land 1 website. And if you at some point want to, get in touch with me, absolutely, you can send me an email. I will share my email in the chat. If you have any questions, I'm extremely happy to even to meet with the students. I have met with the students before the term begins. If you have, specific questions about Land 1 classes, if you are unsure whether Land 1 is a good fit for you, I would be happy to meet with anyone.